Okay, so let's talk about working in Germany and more specifically about job research in Germany. There are many different approaches and possible ways that you can go to find and research jobs in Germany, and there is no one perfect solution that you can just apply to everyone. I will just give you a rundown of different approaches that you can use, and you just have to see and try for yourself which ones work for you, which don't. The main thing is that you have to just do it. It's a numbers game. The more you put yourself out there, the more will return. Try different channels, try different approaches. Don't stick to one if it's not working. So be flexible, put in the work, and stay positive. If you stick to those guidelines during your job research, you will be successful at some point. It's a universal law. So let me start by the first channel, the first option, which would be online job platforms. So they are the most traditional way of finding a job online. They are sites like Monster, Stepstone, Indeed. That's where many companies advertise their job openings across industries, across positions. You will find so many jobs there for every city in Germany. You will find so much there. So that is one of the classical ways. And there you will have naturally a job posting that says what will be your requirements, your tasks, what do we offer you, in terms of culture, compensation, those kinds of things, and what do we require from you. So, reading those job postings, there are some things to consider. So, for the requirements, it is usually that the most important requirements that they have are on the top of their lists, and the ones that have lesser priority are usually down on the list. So you can already kind of see, okay, what kind of tasks are mainly things that a company is looking for in a candidate for that position, and which ones are a nice to have and are not necessarily the most important ones. So knowing that as something to consider, those job postings are always written in an ideal way, meaning they look an ideal client would have all of these, or an ideal candidate would have all those skills. You have to remember, no candidate in reality ever checks all the boxes. So too many people, I think, get discouraged by reading a job posting and seeing, oh, I don't have all the skills that they're looking for, or I only have 70%, I only 50. Sometimes you only maybe have 3 or 4 of the needed skills. But if they are the top skills needed, even if it's just the top skill needed or the 2 top skills needed, even if it's just that, you can still apply. There is never a reason not to apply if you have some match for the position. I mean, there can always be a lucky coincidence that you get invited, and then maybe the person who is looking for the person didn't quite clearly communicate with the HR department or recruiter, and they put out a somewhat of a template of a job posting. Actually, you are the perfect candidate for the position. So don't you take yourself out of the race before it even started. Yeah. So just take part. If it's an interesting position and you have some overlap with your skills, just apply. There's no rule against applying that. You can only win. You cannot lose. Yeah, they will not take that job away from you because you don't have it. So just put yourself out there and be optimistic about the whole journey. One other thing that you should consider, many times on those job postings, there will not be any contact person. I mean, there will be some companies, forward-thinking companies, who already put the contact person for that job, or the HR recruiter contact person with the job posting, so you know who you are, sort of who would be your first contact. If it's not there, do some research online. Go on the website, go on LinkedIn, go on Xing, see who would be the most likely candidate from the HR department as a recruiter. Who could you address this to? So, and this doesn't necessarily mean that you direct message them. This could just mean if you have an email where you attach your documents, just send it to the email given in the job posting, but have it addressed to someone. And it always makes an impression. You might not think small things like that matter, but it always does. So just elevate yourself a little bit from the crowd and see what it does for you. And in terms of the documents that you need, there is one key document that you will always need to attach, which is the CV. So that's our resume for other people. There is a separate video and a separate page on the topic of how to apply for a job, and there's also a sample CV. But in general, a CV in Germany, like a CV everywhere, basically, should be clear, structured, not too cluttered with information, should be easily readable in the first seconds. Like the first impression is so important when reading a CV. A CV that is badly structured, you have no idea where to start, bad fonts, bad colors, too much information, you are out. That is just human nature sometimes. Sometimes it's done with the thinking of, okay, if that person cannot even structure a CV, that is probably not the right person for the job anyways then. So put in time to get a feel for what best practice is. Use our template. Do research online what the best templates are, and always try to remember it should really highlight your achievements and do so in a concise way. Like don't clutter it too much. 2 pages maximum. That is the rule you should stick by. Shouldn't be any more than that. And the structure should be that you have your work experience at the first position with your latest job experience at the top, then going down backwards chronologically, then your academic profession, then your skills, language skills, IT skills, if you're a developer, your programming languages. If you have any personal information, then afterwards, if you have a personal website, a portfolio, anything that shows who you are as a person is always beneficial to put on there. So, because people will read it and they will look at you and they have a better feel for who you are, and you might just get this little edge over someone else to get the interview, and then you can actually showcase who you are in person. The second document that you can, but you don't always have to nowadays attach, is the cover letter or motivational letter. So this is the document that highlights why you should be the one for the position, what made you interested in the company, and so forth. There is still a sizable amount of companies that require this or where this puts you over the edge. However, there is a little bit of a change. Not every company requires the cover letter anymore or is looking for one of looking to get one. However, it doesn't do you any damages if you do write one. You put in the effort, and it shows that you put in the effort to actually write a cover letter and let them know why you should be the one to do it. If you do so, also keep it on one page. Have it reference to the job posting, see and showcase why you should be the one listing specific skills from the job posting as saying why you should do it to give a better impression of you. So the cover letter is something you can do, doesn't do any damages, is not needed by every company anymore, and probably something that if you are more on the junior level, a little younger, sometimes it might be more beneficial. If you are already older and you have a lot of experience, this might be something that you could skip aside. But when in doubt, if you don't know, just write one. It doesn't it cannot hurt you, so it can only give a positive impression of you. So a cover letter and a CV are the ones for the online job portals that you can use. The second big channel that you can find a job through, and that is increasingly more important, and especially in Germany, is the role of social business networks like LinkedIn, and a big one in Germany is Xing. And actually, many people in Germany are still more active on Xing, even though LinkedIn is getting more and more users. But Xing is still really heavily used by many very, very German companies. So LinkedIn is more for people who are a little bit more international, and Xing is still a bit more German-speaking dominated at this point. These kinds of networks are important for the German job market because a high proportion of new jobs are positioned with people who were found through informal networks. So someone knows someone who knows someone who then gives a recommendation for someone without that person having filled out the official application form and just handed in a CV to somebody who knows someone. So having a network, being connected to people is super important in Germany to find jobs. It's estimated by research that close to half of all the jobs in Germany are given away or handed over via the internal networks of people. So, of course, if you have employees and they know someone that would be great for the job, you trust their judgment because they already work for you. So you will invite those people at least get them the first step. And yeah, if you get recommendations by sources, people you trust, they're more trustworthy than the internet and your own online job application form. So if you have a good network in Germany, it goes a long way to help you find a job. That is why having your LinkedIn profile and your Xing profile updated at all times is key. So if there's anything changing in your life, just keep those things updated. I've already included a link down this video on this page on what the best tips are for your LinkedIn profile to stand out. And these are things that are easy to do and will make your profile more visible to recruiters and will make you a more engaged person on the network. The same goes for Xing. For Xing, you need to speak German. There is or you should be able to speak some German. It is a very German-dominated network, so having some German skills for that is quite as well. But even if you don't speak any German, just be on Xing. It never hurts to have a presence there as well to keep engaged. And yeah, if you know people from where you used to work, we have connections. Don't be afraid to message them. Try to have some relevant first conversation with them. I've also included links on how to approach recruiters on LinkedIn. And maybe if you find a job posting on LinkedIn, you can just directly message the person, put it in there, engage in a conversation with them, and then that already gets you into a application process. So using those networks to bypass the traditional channels is a great way to find a job, especially in Germany. So be aware that having a updated and nice, clear online presence on LinkedIn and Xing is just as important as having a nice CV ready to go. They should always be there in a clear, concise way that people can at one glance see who you are and what you are about. So that was the second one. And there's a third that I would call others. I mean, there are other channels that you can use. One would be if you're more experienced, you could always use headhunting services. So headhunters are people that are mostly employed by companies who send them out to find suitable people, and they will go through LinkedIn and they will go through Xing, or they will try to use their personal network to find suitable people for that position. And once they get a person hired by the company, they will get paid by the company. They will get a commission by the company for having brought a new employee to them. They can also be used by individuals who are looking for new jobs, saying, hey, I'm looking for a new job. Could you maybe take my profile and distribute it in your network? This is also possible. And headhunters usually will then say, okay, your profile is good enough for you to be in my portfolio, and I will try to distribute it in my network. So those people have realized the strength of having a network in terms of finding jobs and having people put in place in jobs in Germany, and they're using it for their benefits, but also the benefits of employers and possible employees. And another channel that you can find a job through in Germany is job fairs. So there are big job fairs in every city throughout the year where it is targeted at recent graduates, soon to be graduates, people with some work experience, where companies will have a booth and you can talk to them. They will already be the recruiters or HR people mostly already on the spot, so you can speak to them face to face. You should have your CV with you, so you can hand over your CV immediately, and that's a way to get in touch with them and also have a immediate personal connection and already maybe skip one or two steps in the application process to find a job. So that would be a fourth channel that you could use. So that was it on researching jobs in Germany. Let me quickly recap the four main channels I will give you today. Number one, traditional online job sites For that, you always have to look at the job posting, see if there's an overlap, if there's interest for you in the job. If there is, always apply. Don't be scared. You can always you can only win. So do that. Send over your CV definitely. Cover letter doesn't hurt. Not always required, but it doesn't hurt if you send one along. Number two, LinkedIn and Xing, those social networks for business purposes, very important in Germany because having networks and relationships to get jobs in Germany is highly important. So always keep them updated. Look at the tips on how to optimize your profile for maximum visibility and maximum clarity on who you are as a person, and connect on those networks. Talk to people you know from the past and from companies that you might want to get in touch with. And then other channels such as headhunters, you can always contact them and see if they want to take you in their portfolio and see if they have a job for you. And then other channels such as job fairs, where you go there in person and you meet companies who are willing to get in new people, who want to meet new people. So that is a great way to get to know them on a personal level instantly. Yeah, so I hope this gave you a better overview of what the different channels are to find and research jobs in Germany. And I hope this gave you a little spark of inspiration to take the first step into your journey to coming to Germany.